Hi, Jay Molina here with Elite Athletics, coming to you from ProfessorIt.com. This exercise is the two-leg barbell back squat. To start this exercise, what you're going to do is you're going to get your hand placement. Oftentimes on a bar, there is a little line groove on the outsides of the bar that you can actually put your pinky or whatever finger on that to create evenness on the bar. Whatever you do, you want to make sure that you place your hands on the bar so that you are even on the bar. Step underneath the bar and then place the bar across the top of the shoulder blades. There's a little groove at the top of the shoulder blades and you want to find that groove and make the bar comfortable. You just got to find the right groove for you. Once you found your groove, stand up, unrack the weight, and take 1 or maybe 2 steps back to clear yourself of the rack. Once you have gotten into position, you want to make sure that your feet are about shoulder width apart, your feet are pointed straight ahead, and your knees are lined up over your toes. From that position, you will descend. You will sit your hips back going into the squat position, and then you will drive upward through your heels and squeeze your glutes at the top. It is very important that you squeeze your glutes at the top. Oftentimes people stand up, but they keep their hip flexed and they don't squeeze at the top. Make sure you go down and up, keeping perfect alignment with the feet and the knees. A common mistake in squatting is that people will squat with their feet rotated outwardly, or they will misalign the bar and the bar will be uneven on their back. This creates stress in the spine and it also creates stress in the hip. Another common mistake with squatting is that people will lift their heels off the ground. If you lift your heels off the ground, what's happening is you're actually getting all of the weight that is on your back plus your own body weight shifting right into the knee joint. And that is how we can damage knees. We don't want to do that. Keep your heels on the ground, keep your feet in alignment, and make sure you drive up, squeezing the glutes at the top. Stay fluid, stay relaxed, and stay strong. This next exercise is what's called the two-legged floor bridge. Lying on your back in a sit-up position, your knees bent, feet pointed straight ahead, and knees aligned over the toes. You will have your hands down at your side, and what you will do is lift your hips off the ground. You want to make sure that you drive through the heel of your shoe, pushing your hips upward. Once you get in the upward position where your knee, your hip, and your shoulder are all in alignment, you want to squeeze your gluteal muscles. You want to learn how to activate those gluteal muscles. This is a glute activation exercise. A common mistake in this exercise is that people have their feet too far away from their body and then they push off of their toes, or they let their knees collapse on the exercise. The key to every exercise that you do is keeping proper alignment. Make sure your feet stay straight, make sure your knees stay in alignment with your toes, and make sure you squeeze your glutes at the top. This exercise is the two-arm barbell flat chest press, also known as bench. Lying down on the bench, you're going to actually pull your feet onto the bench. That allows you to keep your feet straight and keep your knees in alignment over your toes. It also keeps your spine neutral and keeps your back flat on the bench and doesn't allow you to push off the ground and arch your back. What we're going to do here is we will get our arms evenly placed on the bar. We want to place our hands in a position to where when we come down with the bar, we have about a 90-degree bend at the elbow. So that is going to dictate your hand placement. Once you have your hand placement evenly on the bar, you need to unrack, hold the weight for a 1,001 count, and then come in a downward movement towards your chest. Come all the way down until you're about a ½ inch or so off of your chest, and then press the weight back up. Repeat this for the prescribed number of repetitions, making sure that you have a slight pause at the bottom and a slight pause at the top, keeping complete control over the weight. A common mistake with this exercise is that people will let the bar drop very fast. They will not be in control of the bar, and then what they will do is let it bounce off their chest, creating momentum. Then they will not pause at the top, and they are actually generating momentum for the exercise instead of using the proper muscle groups. Another common mistake in this exercise is that people will have their feet off of the bench on the floor, and their feet will be rotated outward and they will push through the ground, lifting their hips. They arch their low back and put a lot of stress into the low back muscles and into the low back spine. So make sure that you keep your feet on the bench and make sure that you stop the bar just short of the chest and then press up through the proper musculature. This next exercise is what's called the rapid lateral side jump. From a standing position, place your hands on your hips. You're just going to jump side to side rapidly. You want to make sure that your feet stay straight and your knees stay lined up over your toes. You also want to maintain a nice tall posture. A common mistake in this exercise is that people allow their feet to rotate out, their knees will cave in upon contact with the ground, and they will actually round out their back, creating an improper posture. Make sure that you repeat the exercise as fast as you can, and make sure you do it for the prescribed number of repetitions. This next exercise is a two-leg, two-arm cable row. With two handles in your hand, you want to actually walk backward about 3 steps and squat into a squat position with your feet pointed straight ahead, your knees lined up over with your toes, and you want to have about a 90-degree bend at your waist or at your hip joint. And then your arms are extended straight out in front of you. To execute the exercise, pull your arms straight back, squeezing your shoulder blades together. That is the key, is to squeeze your shoulder blades together. A common mistake with this exercise is people will allow their feet to rotate out, or they will allow their heels to come off the ground, or they will shift their hip forward, and a lot of times they will round out their back, not squeezing the shoulder blades together. They will also break their hand at the wrist. You want to keep your wrists neutral so that you can drive your elbow straight back. Make sure you keep proper alignment always. Make sure that as the weight stack gets heavier, your hips go lower. This next exercise is what's called a prone iso abs. It's also known as a plank. From a all-fours position, you're going to place your elbows on the ground and then put your hands together. You're actually going to put your thumbs up in the air and put your nose right over your thumbs. That's your marker to put you in the right posture and the right alignment. Once you get into that position, you will then extend your knees, straightening your legs, and be on the toes of your feet. You want to make sure that you squeeze your glutes, keeping a flat back. So your alignment should be that of a straight line between your shoulder, your hip, and your ankle joint. Once you have the right posture, you can then let go of your hands and then line your hands up evenly with your elbow and your shoulder joint. A common mistake in this exercise is people will actually drop their hips towards the ground, which causes arching in the low back. Arching in the low back puts a ton of stress in the lumbar spine and is not good for your posture. Another common mistake is that people will lift their hips high in the air. We call this the London Bridge, and they will actually put stress in their shoulder joint because they're pushing back with their elbow. Make sure you maintain a flat posture, straight posture, spine is neutral, and relax during the exercise. Hold for the prescribed number of seconds in the program. This next exercise is called the two-leg, two-arm dumbbell side raise. Standing with dumbbells hanging at your side and your feet straight ahead and your knees lined up over your toes, you're actually going to lift the dumbbells out to the side of your body, keeping them in alignment with your hip, right off the sides of your pants or your shorts. What you're going to do is you're going to keep a small bend in the elbow and lift the dumbbell to about shoulder or ear height, no higher than ear height. A common mistake with this exercise is that as people lift the dumbbells out to their side, they will arch their back and/or they will keep their elbows locked out. When you keep your elbows locked out, you will actually put stress in the elbow joint, and when you arch your back, you put stress into the lumbar spine. Make sure you keep a tall posture, stay relaxed, keep your feet pointed straight ahead, and execute the exercise for the prescribed number of repetitions. This next exercise is what's called the squat jump. From a standing position, you will lower yourself into a partial squat position with your arms cocked back behind you. From that position, you will jump in the air, throwing your arms up, and then as you descend to the ground, you will prepare yourself to land in the same position that you started in. Make sure that your feet are pointed straight ahead, your knees are aligned over your toes, and your feet and knees are shoulder width. Once you have landed, hold the position for approximately 1 to 2 seconds. You will then repeat the movement for the prescribed number of repetitions. A common mistake with this exercise is that as people begin their jump, they will let their knees collapse and cave in, and their feet will rotate out. The same thing happens when they land, or they will also allow their heels to come off the ground during landing. If you land on your toes, what's going to happen is all the stress will be absorbed in the knee joint. You want to land on the entire foot, absorbing the stress through the major muscle groups. Make sure your feet are straight, your knees are in alignment, and that you land on your entire foot. This is Jade Molina with Elite Athletics. See you next time on ProfessorIt.com.